What if I tell you that it's possible for a person to have this strong belief that an event happened in the past, only to later realize that that belief was false? Or that there is another you somewhere in a parallel universe just like ours, who is totally the opposite of who you are? This phenomenon is known as the Mandela Effect, and many people believe it's the result of some kind of merging between parallel realities. Whether or not that's the case, join the universe inside you to find out. So, what is the Mandela Effect? It all began with the story of one man known as Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela was a South African anti-apartheid revolutionary, political leader, and philanthropist who was imprisoned in the 80s. That's when things get interesting. In 2010, a paranormal writer and researcher, Fiona Broom, recalled having a clear memory of Mandela dying in the 1980s while he was still at the notorious Robben Island prison. She even recalled watching the riots that ensued on the news with great detail. The strange part was that many other people in South Africa also shared her opinion and her memories. Broom was famously quoted to have said the following: "See, I thought Nelson Mandela died in prison. I thought I remembered it clearly, complete with news clips of his funeral, the mourning in South Africa, some rioting in cities, and a heartfelt speech by his widow. Then I found out he was still alive." She called this strange phenomenon the Mandela Effect. She and many other people believe that the phenomenon was a result of a distortion caused by the movement between parallel realities. There have been many definitions to this strange occurrence. Psychologists explain the Mandela Effect via memory and social effects, particularly false memory. This involves mistakenly recalling events or experiences that have not occurred, or distortion of existing memories. The unconscious manufacture of fabricated or misinterpreted memories is called confabulation. In everyday life, confabulation is relatively common, but most people dismiss this psychological explanation simply because there are way too many people who remember the exact same thing with great detail. These people attribute these false memories to the existence of multiple universes or parallel universes, and believe their consciousness tapped into these realities, which left them with the so-called false memories, which in fact are real memories, simply not of this reality, out of a parallel one. As a result of this, a website known as MandelaEffect.com was born, a website that acts as an archive, not only for the false memories surrounding the death of Mandela, but others like the Reverend Billy Graham's popular televised funeral and the wrong spellings of the popular cartoon character Looney Tunes. Broom was also known to have given other examples of the Mandela Effect. Most of the time, people who believe in this phenomenon use quantum explanations and some other assumptions to support their theory of parallel realities. They firmly believe that the share of false memories is a concrete evidence of the existence of a parallel universe, which sometimes, because of some quantum events, interferes and perhaps merges with our own reality, leaving many people with the false memories of the reality before that. Cases of the Mandela Effect are everywhere. In 2016, the social networking world went agog when a popular children's storybook and animated TV series known as the Berenstain Bears was posted on a blog post. Thousands of people are absolutely sure that the title of the cartoon was spelled Berenstein, not Berenstain. While some believed it was a result of wrong spelling, others believed it was due to the Mandela Effect. They believed that a collective memory pointed to a parallel reality, in which the animation is called the Berenstain Bears. Other examples of the Mandela Effect include the TV show Sex and the City, with many people remembering it as Sex in the City. Viewers of the popular sitcom Sex and the City claim the name was once known as Sex in the City. Some people can swear it to be so. Here are some more examples. The Pikachu with a black tail. Some people believed the Pikachu's tail had a black tip. How could thousands of people come up with such a belief? It's still baffling, and judging by the latest pictures of Pikachu's tail, you will see that the black tip is not present. Perhaps in this parallel reality, the creators of Pokemon decided to make Pikachu without a black tip tail. Rich Uncle Pennybags. People who believe in the Mandela Effect also claim that the famous Monopoly man, also known as Rich Uncle Pennybags, had a monocle. They believed the Monopoly man used to wear one, but evidence has shown that that's not true. Darth Vader. This is probably one of the most popular examples of the Mandela Effect. Even Fiona Broome attested to this too. She claims that she remembered perfectly how Darth Vader said to Luke, "Luke, I am your father." But watching the movie again and again confirms that Darth Vader never said, "Luke, I'm your father." What he said was, "No, I'm your father." So the question is, was this just a misremembered movie line or some unexplained phenomenon? Who knows?
He told me you killed him. No, I am the father.
We Are the Champions by Queen. Many of those familiar with the hit song We Are the Champions by Queen remember the final lyrics being, "No time for losers, 'cause we are the champions of the world." Well, guess what? There is no of the world. The song just ends, and it's driving people crazy because they feel 100% sure that they've heard otherwise in the past. Curious George had no tail. Why some people still believe that Curious George used to have a tail is still strange. Some even claim that they saw George using his tail to swing from one tree to the other, but a picture of George right now when viewed does not have a tail. Another interesting case of the Mandela Effect is with the famous painting of the Mona Lisa. People think the Mona Lisa is smiling now, but they remember clearly that she used to be emotionless. A lot of folks passionately insist that the Mona Lisa has changed because they remember her having a straight face without any emotion. When we look closely at the magnificent painting now, it seems as if she's got a smirk instead of a straight emotionless face. All of these stories and cases of the Mandela Effect sound amazing, but they all make you wonder, if there are parallel universes, and sometimes they merge with our reality, wouldn't there be some people who believe that perhaps the Germans won World War II? Or that they live in a country which doesn't exist in our reality? Well, there are records of a lot of people who have had similar unexplained memories. One famous case is the case of the man from the country that doesn't exist. According to the legend, at some point in a particularly hot summer of 1954, a gentleman entered Haneda Airport in Tokyo, Japan. He was traveling from Europe and had visited Japan many times. On his person was various different currencies of European countries, as well as Japanese money for his upcoming trip. He was also adept at several languages, including Japanese, but it appeared French was his native tongue. Nothing out of the ordinary by any stretch of the imagination. When the gentleman went on to state his country of origin, as he produced his passport, however, things took a strange turn. According to his official papers and the man himself, his home country was Taured. He was able to produce such documents as his driver's license, bank statements, and his official business papers. Perhaps sensing confusion, the man then offered that it was a small country nestled between Spain and France. Further still, Taured enjoyed a long and proud history stretching back over 1,000 years. Needless to say, the customs officials didn't recognize such a country, nor could they find one on any existing map at their disposal, nor find any mention of it in history books. Perplexed as to what to do, with his cooperation, the gentleman was taken into immigration's custody. Under constant guard outside his room, the gentleman would spend the night in a nearby hotel. His passport and official papers were confiscated in order that immigration could resolve the issue. The following morning would bring a bizarre twist to the already mysterious affair. As officials went to collect the gentleman from his hotel room, they discovered to their amazement an empty room. Despite the guards outside the room and the building, he had simply vanished into thin air. His room was high up, with only a single window. If the man had attempted to leave via this route, he would have simply fallen to his death, as the window had no ledge or balcony. Further still, the passport and official documents were also missing from immigration offices. In any case, the papers had failed to yield any results. Immigration officers would ring a phone number on his business papers. According to the reports, the number did not exist. How is it possible that thousands of people remember so many things with clear detail, just to discover them to be completely different from what they remembered? How is it possible that people emerge, stating to live in a country that never existed in our reality, a country for which they can present pure evidence supporting its existence? One might ask, is there some quantum explanation for this phenomenon? Perhaps there's some quantum event unlocking some kind of portals which allow parallel dimensions to shift and merge with one another. According to some people, there are various portals into these parallel realities, and a recent discovery made by some scientists of the possible first proof of parallel universes might just change the whole thing. The study carried out by a group of British astronomers shows the inexplicable places in the cosmos that may offer the very first proof that we are all living in the multiverse. The theory itself has raised a whole lot of questions like, is there another you and I out there? Another you on another planet living another life? Is there another version of events out there in another world? The theory of the multiverse proposes that there is an infinite amount of universes out there, and that includes our own planet. But this is just one of the numerous theories that tend to prove the possibility of the existence of a multiverse. Another theory that tends to prove this theory of a multiverse is the infinite universe. It's not known what the shape of space-time is, but a particular theory tends to show that the universe is flat and infinite, meaning the universe goes on forever. The believers of this theory say it is possible for universes to start repeating themselves, owing to the fact that particles can be put in more than one way, creating a series of parallel universes and dimensions. Another interesting theory is the mathematical universes theory. The foundation of this theory is the fact that our external physical reality is made completely out of mathematical equations. This leads people to believe that the physical universe is mathematics in a well-defined sense, and in those worlds complex enough to contain self-aware substructures, they will subjectively perceive themselves as existing in a physically real world. The hypothesis suggests that worlds corresponding to different sets of initial conditions, physical constants, or altogether different equations may be considered equally real. The structure of this theory may change, but that would depend on the universe that you are on. Max Tegmark of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology was once quoted saying the following: "A mathematical structure is something that you can describe in a way that is completely independent of human baggage." The most known theory is the parallel universe theory, designed by a man named Hugh Everett III, a young Princeton University doctoral candidate who in 1954 came up with an idea that there was and is a high probability of the existence of parallel universes, ones that look exactly like ours. He claimed that within these parallel universes, our wars have had different outcomes than the ones we know. This theory could give us an explanation for the mysterious occurrence of the Mandela Effect. Could it be that those who believed that Mandela died in the prison somehow shifted their consciousness into one of these parallel universes and dimensions, but were later drawn back to ours? This could explain all of their false memories, which perhaps weren't false but were true, simply not in this parallel universe. One might want to doubt the credibility of this theory, but what seems strange here is, why would Mr. Hugh Everett want to risk his future over a fallacy, risk his own future career by posing a theory about the parallel universes? That would have been suicidal career-wise, so he had to be sure about posting such a theory. Another man who also spoke more about this theory was the late Stephen Hawking. His last paper before his death talked about the multiverse theory. It was published a few months after his death, and Stephen Hawking talked about the theory in detail. He said, "We are not down to a single unique universe, but our findings imply a significant reduction of the multiverse to a much smaller range of possible universes." According to Stephen Hawking's theory, we have more than one universe, and there are infinitely more parallel universes that are just like ours, that also contain someone like you, meaning there is another you out there who is not watching this video right now, and he or she is probably the direct opposite of what you are right now. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, and if you're new, hit subscribe and the bell next to it for future notifications.